Dude, that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
We are back for day 2 of the Masters Journal here on The Smylie Show. And, man, what a day it was. I cannot remember watching a day of golf like that at a major championship or just even in a regular tournament. There were just so many twists and turns. But, Smylie, I wonder if the place we have to start, or it may just be its own separate pod, is recapping our drive-through experiences at Wendy's last night.
Yeah, let's run through that. Last night we finished the pod up at I think like 9:45.
Yeah.
And we both were like, crap, we got to eat dinner. And there was no options. Uber Eats was not giving us anything other than Chinese. I didn't even know you were going to Wendy's.
I didn't know you were going to Wendy's.
Until I complained. I was actually on the way to Dave & Buster's to go sit at the bar until I happened to pass a pilot with the Wendy's down the road. I didn't even type it in. So, yeah.
Dave & Buster's would have been a great pod recap.
I must
play Pop a Shot, maybe.
I must say I haven't had Wendy's in 2 or 3 years, and it didn't sit well with me. What about you?
Well, can I ask you what your order was?
I asked Fran what I should order when I got there because I had no idea, and I was settled in on this grilled chicken wrap thing.
I saw that and I thought about it,
and it looked great. And I told Fran, I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna do that. And the guy says, hey, what's your order? And I said, I'll have the Baconator. And he's like, well, what you want to drink? I was like, am I able to get a Frosty with it? And so he's like, you want the orange dreamsicle or do you want the chocolate? I was like, give me the chocolate. So I had this Baconator with fry and a chocolate Frosty, and pretty much wanted to croak for 3 or 4 hours after that. I slept like crap. I was up at the crack of dawn doing 15 and 16 hole coverage on the Masters app and Masters.com, and holy crap, it was carnage watching that, by the way, this morning. But that's besides the point.
Well,
what did you order?
It's amazing that we're saying, hey, the majors, the Masters recap that you're here to listen to. That's besides the point. Let's get back to our Wendy's order. I'll briefly, I'm normally a spicy chicken guy. I think it's combo number 6. But I said, you know what? I'm in the mood for a burger tonight. I just played it down the middle of the fairway with just a single, whatever the main burger is, with lettuce, onion, ketchup, mayo. But we've documented this on the podcast. I've been in a bad place this week health-wise with allergies. Many thanks to all the various people who suggested. There were a lot of comments suggesting, hey, try Nasacort or Flonase or all this sorts of stuff. And I have some good news to report there, by the way.
Are you back?
We have a whole new program. Yeah, have you seen the movie Sandlot? Of course you have, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you know how when they're trying to get the baseball back, the Babe Ruth signed baseball,
of course,
they're doing all this stuff, and then they have to like completely change their plan. I think they use Scottie's like erector set to like build, a very involved device to try to get the ball back. That's where we're at on my allergy management program. We threw the Claritin out the window, we threw the Zyrtec out the window. We got a neti rinse thing, and we got I think it's Nasacort spray thing. And then we also got, I'm very excited about this. I think it's like smelling salts, effectively. I think it's like allergy smelling salts. It's a little thing I just open up and I just snort and just good to go. So excited about that. So anyway, back to the 2024 Masters. And here's my segue. I've never heard the term pollen pods used more time on a golf broadcast than today, talking about the greens where stuff kept falling on the greens. The wind was blowing like crazy. You were feature groups covering Tiger. And there was that bunker cam on 18 where the wind is whipping the sand into his face. I mean, let's just start with like the conditions and how that played into what was maybe the hardest major round of golf in recent memory.
It was so hard out there that I was exhausted just calling it. I picked up Tiger's, I believe it was Tiger's group at the turn. I don't know. It was such a long day for me. I called golf. It seemed like every minute of the day today because there's no commercials.
Well, you had to get there early, right, to finish the round one coverage.
Yeah, I finished on 15 and 16. I had a little bit of a break for a couple hours and then picked it up at about 12:30, and I was on until 7:45. It took them so long to play golf, and that, which makes sense. I mean, it was playing impossible out there today. But dude, yeah, it was ridiculous. The sand tornadoes that were just ripping through the place, coming out of the bunkers. It was absurd, man. Just a ridiculous day of golf, and I think I kept on thinking about Scottie Scheffler, Max Homa, and Bryson DeChambeau being at, I think Bryson got it to 8 at one point, or was close to getting it to 8. But they're all at 6 under par right now, and just to put that into a little bit of perspective of how good that is, because I just don't think people realize how difficult that golf course was today. For the common man to go out there and what they would have shot, you just have no clue what they were facing. And too many people, I think, don't give these guys enough credit for how good they are at golf. I'm telling you, if I would have gone out there and played today, ooh.
I mean, the place I went, given my role in all this, is, boy, I hope it's not blowing on Monday for the media round, because those boys are going to shoot a million when they go out there. I mean, it's impossible right now. And I thought, I mean, we saw a number of players that were in the high 70s, low 80s, like good players who were some of the best on tour, and it just felt like an unsolvable puzzle.
The scoring average was right around 75 today. You haven't seen that since 2007, so we're talking about, we're math guys. 2024 minus 2007. I'm telling you, my brain is so fried. My brain is so fried. I legit just tried to do that math quickly, and it spit out like 47 in my head.
We're just leaning into it a bit at this point. We're not even going to try to do math properly. I think 07 to 24. I think that's 17 years. Correct us if we're wrong. It doesn't matter either way. How about low round of the day? Ludwig Oberg shoots 69. I believe it was the low round of the day, 3 under.
It was, yeah. Low round of the day.
Do you happen to know the last time a Masters first timer carded around that low off top of head? You see that anywhere?
Oh yeah, right here. You're looking at him. 2016 Saturday round. I shot a 3 under par 69. Have that crystal sitting in that beautiful cabinet at my house that you so often see when you watch me do podcasts at home. Yeah,
big time. It's amazing.
Justin Ray just throwing a stat out and reminding the good common folk that watch the game of golf that, oh yeah, that guy used to kind of have some game back in the day. It was a good reminder for me too.
Yeah, I mean that's big stuff. And I think, and just to kind of talk about Ludwig a little bit, you loved him coming in. I always loved Ludwig, but I just was unsure as to how he'd fare in his first Masters. But Ludwig's solo 7, and he's 4 shots off the lead. Let's take in that direction, because where are we cutting off this leaderboard? Let me just read you the first kind of collection of names, maybe through top 10 on the leaderboard, and we can see where we think the cutoff is for who can realistically win the tournament. So as you mentioned, Scottie, Bryson, Max Homa, all at 6 under.
What would you set the odds at if you got to group those 3 together to bet on one of those 3 guys to win? That price is probably pretty ridiculous, I imagine.
Well, I mean, we can check it right now. I mean, I'd say Scottie's absolutely going to have the lowest odds.
Well, I'm saying, like, if it's a combo of 3, you can bet on Scottie, Max Homa, and Bryson DeChambeau. If you can, grouping them all together, how much on a $100 bet?
It's almost reverse odds. I mean, because
you're laying, you think $800-900 on that, or you think it's more than that
to win 100? I'm not an odds maker.
Neither am I.
I'm learning.
Just playing the game here.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. I mean, because I do think, I mean, if you're asking me, well, here we go. I'll do it this way. So outright winner odds, Scottie is plus 120 right now, which is down from plus 140 after the first round yesterday. Bryson DeChambeau plus 450. Max Homa plus 500. So, and that's a clear cut. And then the next man on the leaderboard is Nikolai Højgaard, but he's 2 spots further down on that odds board. He's plus 2,500. In front of him,
wow,
interestingly enough, is Colin Morikawa plus 1,200, and then Ludwig at plus 2,000, which is 20 to 1. But I'm just curious, if we're looking at that board, Nikolai is at solo fourth, 4 under. Then Cam Davis and Colin Morikawa T5 at 3 under. Ludwig is at 2 under. And then you got a group of 1 unders that are Matthew Pavon, Cam Young, Tommy Fleetwood, Danny Willett, Ryan Fox, Ben On, and Cam Smith. Is that kind of where you're cutting it at the 1 unders?
No, I would throw in Xander Schauffele as well. I would.
How about Xander back-to-back even par rounds, like just steady as you go?
Woo. I really think Xander's going to vault up this leaderboard. I think you're going to see his name inside the top 5 heading into Sunday. To me, that's the one to keep an eye on. I'm not sure if Cam Smith can drive it good enough on the weekend to keep up the pace, being a little bit back. But of those 3, it's hard to see one of those 3 not winning because Scottie and Bryson and Max Homa are all such solid players. But really intrigued by Nikolai Højgaard and Ludwig Oberg. I probably know Ludwig's game a little better than Nikolai, so I tend to probably favor his chances a little bit more. But I think there's plenty of guys that can go out tomorrow. If you're able to shoot a 67, it's going to go a long way.
Let me ask you about the dynamic and how you think it'll impact scoring for 3 different pairings, okay? So the final group tomorrow is going to be Max Homa and Bryson DeChambeau, right? I'm curious what your thoughts are on the dynamic. If Scottie ending up in that second to last group with Nikolai Højgaard, if you feel like that's, more or less conducive to scoring than if he was paired with the Max Homa or a Bryson DeChambeau. And then the last one I want to ask you about is, I understand why the pace of play was slow today and why everyone had to be deliberate. But you were covering Tiger's group. I, for PGA Tour Radio, was producing feature group with Tiger in it. He played at a very deliberate pace. After the round, Tyrrell Hatton made some comments about the pace of play out there today. And it is Tiger Woods and Tyrrell Hatton that are paired up tomorrow. I'm just wondering what you think of those 3 groups, what we're going to see in terms of scoring, and what we think the dynamic's going to be there.
I mean, nothing to report there. Tyrrell has always been pretty, he's a guy that complains about just about everything. So no surprise at all. Even John Rahm just making a statement after the round saying, why were we even out there? Just, I don't know.
I missed that.
Yeah, to me, it's...
Can you, I mean... Is he venting there? Like, you can't realistically pull guys off the golf course for...
Oh, you can. I thought at a couple points today...
Really?
That players should have been held in position because the gusts were too bad. I watched Gary Woodland on 16 have a 6-footer and his ball's just sitting there, and then it rolls all the way, down the slope to the corner of the green. So balls were moving on the green. I don't know how close they were to calling play at some point because it was, it was a problem there on 9, 18, and 15, and they really exposed greens. But, you don't like to see that from the Masters champion from last year. I don't know. It just seems like everybody's playing and it just go play,
What do you think about, because he was one of those guys who was right around the cut line, along with Rory. He and Rory made the cut. And then we saw some big names miss the cut in pretty brutal, heartbreaking fashion. The 3 that come to mind for me are Victor Hovland, Wyndham Clark, and Justin Thomas.
Throw Jordan Spieth in there too.
Jordan as well, although I think he finished at 9 over, and so he pretty well could have gathered he wasn't going to make the cut, whereas Vic, JT, and Wyndham all really had legit chances of making the cut, especially when it moved coming down the stretch and just couldn't get it to 6 over. Just thoughts about, I know part of this is when we talked before the show, it's like, it's not like it's a bad leaderboard. You just wish there were more marquee names at the top there. And what, some of those guys have missed the cut. How do you kind of reflect on the weekend and say, man, that could have been me up there, if I just kept it in play and got it around. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but there's an opening to win this tournament given the lack of big names at the top of the board.
No, definitely. I think there's going to be a lot of players kicking themselves with where the cut ended up being for the players not playing on the weekend. But it's also in the same light, it's probably hard to see, these players that finished at 7, 8 over par that missed the cut. They probably didn't see a 6 under on the golf course, which is what Scottie Scheffler and those boys did the first 2 rounds. I mean, just incredible golf from those guys. And we haven't even really touched on this yet. But I mean, the highlight for me of the first 2 days of just somebody that just completely surprised me, and I don't know why I'm surprised, but Tiger Woods, man.
Oh my goodness, 100%. I mean, I just it just battling, right? Like he makes a bogey, he'll bounce back with a birdie. You just with all day just hanging in there, dealing with the elements, all the way down to that last putt that we referenced where the sand's whipping in his face on 18. He steps over and makes that par to finish a 1 over. Really impressed.
It just proved to me that the statement that he made in the press conference at the beginning of the week, saying, "Do you think you can win one more major championship?" And his comment or his answer back, just saying that, if everything comes together, I think I can pick off one more. And I think a lot of people would disagree, and some would maybe say, "Oh yeah, definitely so." And I was kind of right in the middle. And this week, to me, just these last 2 days proved that yes, he can win another big time event. And yes, he does need to have it, be the right conditions, and not having to play 23 holes doesn't help. But I just loved his mental grind. The physical side of it looked okay to me. A little shaky kind of down the stretch with his back and when he would kind of have to go pick something up. But that's just part of it. He knows he just has to grind for 4 days. And if that's the version we're going to get of Tiger Woods that still can compete in these major championships and find his way somewhat in contention, I'm fine with that without having to see him a ton playing throughout the year on the PGA Tour. I know he would like to be playing, but whatever gets him in a place to where he feels like he can pick off one more, because honestly, we're not going to remember one more PGA Tour event. We're going to remember one more major that Tiger wins.
100% agreed. And the thing I took away from today's performance was, I think we've looked at a lot of his recent, major performances and having to withdraw from certain events, and a lot of them have been, associated with bad weather, cold temperatures, things like that. And so in your mind, it's like he almost has to have perfect weather to shoot a score and be in contention. But after today, it's a specific type of weather, but I'm almost kind of leaning the other way where you're saying right there, it has to be the right set of circumstances to fall into place for him to be in contention. And this week's circumstances kind of fall in line with that, where the conditions and the wind wipe out a lot of guys in the field who just can't, shoot a good score. And yet Tiger kind of finds a way to battle and stay in it and make a cut. And, no telling what's going to happen on the weekend, but it looks like Scottie being out there 7 shots ahead, it's going to be a tough guy to catch. But this is the type of scenario where, maybe his experience and ability to kind of battle through that type of stuff is an opening for him to win another major championship.
Yeah, I don't know if he's too far back right now at 1 over. You'd have to say
a lot has to happen.
You got to have all 3 of those guys come back to the field. If the best of the bunch of those 3 tomorrow is 73 or something like that, and the lead somehow tomorrow is still at 5 or 6 under, and he goes out and shoots 68 tomorrow and is at 3 under par and a couple back, then you're thinking to yourself, 2 or 3 back, that's nothing for Tiger.
Yeah.
But I just have a hard time believing that all 3 of those guys not one of them is not going to at least shoot 70 or 69 tomorrow. That's just I would be a little surprised by that.
So I think I saw in the forecast the winds are supposed to be a little bit down on the weekend. It still is going to be windy, but not
10 to 15. So
yeah,
you're still
a little
gonna,
more manageable.
I just hope it's just not the craziness of the gusts today. I want it to be a challenge for the players tomorrow, where they still have to have wind as a factor, but to an extent, the play, which it just took forever, and I just want the patrons too to have a good time. I mean, just not a ton of roars out there today.
Yeah, it's a tough scene. And 2 quick ones. Did you see the Zach Johnson incident? Let me say here.
I did read.
He since apologized for it, and he said he was talking to himself. But it was a little bit of a weird, like, where the patrons mocking him type situation. I don't know. But that was one type of a roar.
I don't know. You gotta go watch and
do your own research, please. You make the decision for yourself.
Yeah, whatever helps you sleep at night, type of thing. I don't know. It's it definitely the evidence of reviewing the tape. I'll say from me watching just a snippet before we just recorded this, didn't look great.
It falls in the bad visual category and bad audio category as well. I'll say that. And secondarily, and it looks like our dog friend's back. We actually, it's a reference that people aren't going to get because we cut the dog from last night's broadcast, but we do have a neighborly dog that's joined in at various points, and we're going to keep the dog in tonight. Did you see Bryson carrying the signpost around?
Yeah, that's
good visual.
Yeah, it's it's hilarious. I don't know what hole that would have been. Maybe number 9. He hit it well down there on the patron crosswalk. I have all these terminology things dialed in right now. What you're supposed to say on the broadcast. It's the patron crosswalk. And so I said the front 9, the back 9, and then I finally realized I was like, oh my gosh, I have been airballing this. It's the first 9 and the second 9. So it was a work in progress of trying to recalibrate my golf broadcast brain yesterday and today.
I've decided after this weekend that I really miss Bryson. He just
I do too.
It gives you something fun to talk about.
He's got this king.
He's got this frenetic energy about him where you just laugh. It's like we all know people like that where it's just like this person is chaotic good and it's just fun to be around and gives us lots of things to talk about. So I love the signpost thing. Love that he's in contention. And we'll see.
Mrs. Bryson. Okay, noted.
Yeah, I miss Bryson.
I'll go with you. I miss Bryson. I miss the content king. I miss DJ. Miss Brooks.
DJ, bad visual today.
Yeah, Joaquin. Love watching Joaquin. I miss a lot of the guys.
Joaquin made the cut, but all the people yelling at me for my one and done pick out there, which I'm sure there are many. With Scotty's the show pick this week. Okay, we're still alive. We're gonna be, as we said last night, we're gonna be sad to see Scottie go from the one and done Arsenal after this week. We're hoping we can make that work. But yeah, Joaquin, tough finish today. But everyone had a tough finish today, so maybe not his fault. But
you know who had a great finish today is that beer didn't stand a chance.
That was, and look at these glasses, dude.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm drinking champagne.
I needed a beer pretty bad at the end of the day, so.
You deserved it, buddy. Long day.
Thank you for letting me have this tall boy with you.
Hope you're also cracking one open at home, wherever you're watching or listening to this. What do you think? Any final thoughts as we kind of close out our journal for day 2, Friday at the 2024 Masters?
No, just one goal for me as the rest of the week goes on. I just need to find my way into the golf course to be able to get the peach ice cream sandwich.
Ooh.
I don't think I've ever had one, and
I've never had one either.
So I'm gonna make a point to go make sure I go get the peach ice cream sandwich. So besides that, I'm pretty excited to maybe do something with a pimento cheese on something with some chips.
Do the potato chips. Put the potato chips. I had 2 of them today. I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's all right there in front of us, and we have a great weekend ahead.
I am excited because tomorrow I'm going to try to get a gnome. Tomorrow's going to be gnome day. I got in line today.
I don't get it
too early, but I think tomorrow's going to be gnome day. I feel good about it. So we'll see how that shakes out. Well, hey, we have Saturday's journal tomorrow night. I might have a little gnome sitting right next to me right here.
A nice hat, by the way.
Thanks, buddy. I thought so too. Thank you all for watching and listening. This has been day 2 of our Masters Journal on a Friday. Excited for the weekend of the first major of the year. We'll be back here tomorrow to recap that for you. So thanks for watching and listening, and we will talk to you then.